Hello and welcome along to another edition of the Andrew Eborn Show, where I am delighted that my very, very special guest is none other than Maximilian Somerset. How are you, Max?
I'm very well, Andrew, and it's a joy to be here.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a joy wherever you go. It's such a thrill. I haven't seen you for ages. What have you been up to?
I know. I've been isolating me and my red socks, which I'm just about to put on, actually. And
Yeah, they match my eyes, I was going to say. It looks it's always a thrill. But listen,
they certainly match the eyes of my rabbit. I know that much.
Oh, fantastic. And how's that been going? I mean, life in lockdown must have been hell, isn't it? I mean, you're such a busy performer. What have you been up to?
I was very busy. I had shows cancelled in Croatia, shows cancelled in Italy, shows cancelled in Jersey, Guernsey, all over the place. And they were slowly vanished one by one, like just like the opposite of candy floss, really. You know, candy floss starts off with a little bit of sugar and ends up like a big ball. This just went the opposite way, like candy floss melting on the tongue. Horrible.
So you've done a worldwide tour which has disappeared, which is a nightmare, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you know, arguably, again, it's the magic trick of the government. Thanks very much.
But I mean, a lot of magicians have gone online. They've encapsulated, they've embraced the glorious Zoom revolution. Have you been dabbling with that?
Well, I had a number of Zoom shows which I had to do. I did about 7 Zoom shows in India, and well, I wasn't in India; they were in India.
Right.
And then I did other Zoom shows. I think, where else did I do? I did one in Africa.
Good. Whereabouts in Africa?
God knows, I can't remember the place, but I did one in Africa anyway, and you know, it was always rearranging the room and setting it up and all this and this and coming up with relevant material. And
that's the interesting thing, isn't it, Max? Because so many people, they come out with totally irrelevant and inappropriate in terms of not be suited to the environment. What sort of material have you been doing?
Well, when I was doing the Zoom stuff, and I've stopped it now because no more Zoom stuff has come in, and I'm not interested in people paying a few quid to come in and just, you know, and have a butcher's like a peep show. I'm not a peep show, Andrew.
Are you not?
You know?
Oh,
no.
Well, thank you for being my guest. Will. No, of course you're not. You are one of the classiest, most creative acts, and not just in terms of magic, but in terms
of my goodness, look, my head's getting bigger and bigger.
Oh,
and bigger.
Look at you. It's real. Just as the candy floss works, you see, it's infectious. Yeah, But you're right, you have to adapt, and you have to obviously keep your standards and things like that.
Yeah.
So in terms of material, what do you do? How do you engage with an audience?
Well, first thing is, I never did a Zoom show without somebody else hosting. I never hosted my own Zoom shows. They always had, whenever I did them, I always negotiated with the agencies and the ones that wanted them. I always negotiated that they would have someone on that would do all of the toing and the froing, because I can't be doing with any of that. I want to be thinking about the performance, and I want them to be worrying about making me the host. What they would do is they would spotlight me to make sure that I was spotlit, and then they would bring other people in and take them out as necessary. You know, occasionally re-spotlight one of them, and then re-spotlight me, and do all of that. And they did all of the music as well. I had them do all of that.
Okay, well, which makes sense. So you basically have that whole thing produced. And what sort of material were you doing?
Well, what kind of things did I do? Basically, well, it depended on the audience, really. Depending on the age and the things. One of the things I did, it was a thing which was quite nice with spirit slates.
Okay.
And I did this thing, and it's an old, if there are any magicians watching, and there's a lovely thing you can do with numbers where, and I can't reveal too much because I don't know who's looking in, but you get them to think of a 3-digit number, they reverse the 3 digits, then they take the smaller number away from the bigger number, and then they reverse that, and then they add the reverse total to the previous, and then you get a complete total.
Right.
And I think we know that 99% of the time, I won't need to say what it is, but you know, there's always a way that this comes out. But I've figured out if you added a certain number to it, which I did with 3 dice, which I just threw into cups.
Yeah.
You added a certain number to it, and I showed it using the spirit slates. You know, these are slates which are used in the spiritism experiments, and I did all the workings on the slates, so they had relevance. You know, all the workings, show them how to do the workings: add, take away, multiple. You know, this number, bigger number, smaller number, equals, and then plus whatever it was, and you ended up with a number, something like. It was something that you added 516 to 1098, which was you ended up with 1605 or 16 something or other. Can't remember what it was. And then you asked them, just Google it. Does anything come up at all?
Right.
Google it. Is there anything? Go Google images, and invariably it comes up with, you don't know it, but it comes up with, it's Guy Fawkes. That's the first hit. Houses of Parliament, Guy Fawkes. So then as they're talking, you close the spirit slates and you ask them, you know, what was it? And then you ask them to summon the spirit of Guy Fawkes through the interwaves, you know, and then and of course you open it up and now it says Guy Fawkes before they've even told you what they've looked at. And that's a prelude to something else I did, which was quite fun, which was with a tube of an M&M's tube,
right?
Which is a wonderful, which is a convenient size for a utility device which magicians use regularly. And the great thing is I would go on from Guy Fawkes and I'd say, I'm going to say Guy Fawkes. Now, one of you here, think of something associated with Guy Fawkes. He tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament, you know. It's a kind of like, yes, I mean, he was basically, yes, he was a terrorist. I suppose you could call him a terrorist, couldn't you? Not your usual modern day terrorist, but definitely a terrorist. Yeah. And you know, he's certainly dressed far more flamboyantly than we do these days. You terrorists just don't know how to dress anymore.
Well, and the fashion for terrorists, I think there's a whole line there which is missing, isn't it?
Yes.
I reckon you're right. I think forget all the magic malarkey. Fashion lines for terrorists is what you've got to do. I love it.
Yes, and designer funerals for those who you know who've kind of gone along the journey.
Well, yes, I suppose that's probably right, isn't it?
You know, you could go down, have an Elvis funeral, couldn't you? You could have a Michael Jackson funeral. You could have anything you want, really.
Oh, beat it! Absolutely. I think a themed funeral and fashion designs for every profession. I think you're onto a winner. You know.
Yes, I should. I'm not going to wait for lockdown to completely. That's it now. I'm going to be coming up with designer terrorist clothing. That's it. You know. Disguise yourself as a giraffe.
Oh, that's a good idea, isn't it?
Yes.
Nobody would know.
Nobody would know. Nobody would have the faintest idea. It's the should we say the quintessential Trojan giraffe.
I reckon the QJG would be absolutely the way to do it.
The red socks are on now.
Oh, no, your socks are on. Are you about to go on the road? Are you about to disappear?
Well, I am very shortly, but I was going to say, the great thing about the word association game is you do the word association game 5 or 6 times, and then you've got the tube in full view the whole time on the table. Right. So then you've got M&Ms in the tube, and you give it a shake. You lift up the lid, pour out a few M&Ms, and then take out a piece of paper which has Guy Fawkes, and then all the words. The great thing about that is you can have 4 or 5 or 6 people on Zoom, all involved.
Right.
Everyone involved. And nothing, there's no preset, there's nothing, you know, it just is literally people there watching it. And that's the key with Zoom. The key with Zoom is, when I did those Zoom shows, to try and get, as far as possible for me, to try and get individuals involved as much as I possibly could. And that was the only way you could do it, to do it one by one, person by person, in the Zoom magic shows.
And what I love about you is that you wonderfully adapt. We talk about these being extraordinary times and the unprecedented use of the word unprecedented. But yes, you are one of life's great adapters. You will go into into any environment and make it relevant and engage and work out, just as you do with your fashion for terrorists, you will work out the way to connect to that audience. And you're right, it is about engagement. So rather than just people watching, and here's another little square,
Yeah.
they're all involved.
That's the most important thing. Essentially, it's a kind of a magical chat room, really. But not a magical chat room in the sense that we understand magical chat rooms, like Magic Cafe and that. I'm talking about, for them, it's an engagement in a social magic, kind of dialogue almost with you and them. And then everyone feels, they walk away feeling, that was for me.
Yeah.
And that's what matters.
Oh, no, you're right. And it then becomes totally relevant what you did. It feels as though they've gone on an experience, gone on a journey with you, which is the same for all of the live shows and also your TV shows. People will go on that journey and you adapt your material to the medium.
Yeah, I with the TV shows, for me, and it's always been this way, for me, it's not been about the magic per se, not the trick. For me, it's always been about thinking wider afield and thinking about, what messages can I portray? What can I give? I did one online called Under No Illusions, which is quite a fun one. And it looks at the odds of a deck of cards going in order. And I talk about deoxyribose nucleic acid and the acid in the guanine, the thymine, the cytosine, and the odds of you getting those in correct sequence, even for the simplest cellular structures, are billions to one. I think, and the odds of, well, they are something like one in, just to even get a deck of cards in order is 1 in 10 to the power of 68. And that's only 52 cards, let alone 3 million specified complex structures inside of DNA cells. And I do this trick where slowly the whole deck puts itself in order, and I talk about, and at the end I say, the universe has ticked away 10 to the power of 13 number of seconds. So to run the actual relevant tests, every atom since the beginning of the universe would have had to have been running a test in order for us just to put a deck of cards in order, let alone complex life forms. And I end the trick by saying, now you might think that life is a happy accident, but I just haven't got that much faith. And so the whole thing is a story. It takes us, it's a narrative, and it takes us somewhere. And I like my magic to be about more than just the magic. Other people say magic needs nothing more. I say, you're right. I just like to give it something more. I like it to be about something, a bigger story.
Absolutely. And it is all about the narrative. And as you say, looking back at your life, you started in magic. I think you first got the bug when you were 5 and you saw a magician miraculously pushing 4 coins effortlessly through a table.
Yes.
And it was then your adopted mother who gave you your first magic trick. But you yourself, and I know it's been a life of laughter, but also a lot of tragedy. Because looking at your childhood, I think you described it yourself as what some would say a fractured childhood.
Yes, it was. And, and I've been very acquainted with grief and loss. And loss has been a friend of mine. It has to be a friend. Loss has to become a friend, because you can't treat it like an enemy. You have to accept, acknowledge, and embrace loss. And I lost my mother in November, my biological mum. Sadly, she passed away, and then we had to bury her, and we had to scatter her ashes on Lake Biel in Switzerland in December, and that was just before all the COVID stuff, and I've grown used to accepting that I've come to believe that ultimately I didn't ask to be here. I know this seems very deep, but I didn't ask to be here, and I don't. My body doesn't belong to me, it belongs to the universe. I'm made out of stardust, and so are you. All of our physical form, our matter, our atoms, our atomic structure, from the entirety of it, started 13.8 billion years ago in a Big Bang. We don't belong to ourselves. So the universe's gift to itself, if you like, is consciousness. And what a wonderful gift it's given itself. And what a joy to partake in that. And I think it was David Foster Wallace who tells the story of 2 fish swimming one way, 1 fish swimming the other. And the one fish says to the two fish, "Hey guys, are you enjoying the water?" And the one fish looks at the other one and says, "Water? What's water?" You know, and that's how we often take these things for granted. Life is magic for me. Consciousness is magic. And we have to enjoy it and not take it for granted and be grateful for every day that we've been given.
Oh no, absolutely. And amongst all of that, as you say, you've had some real heartbreak, especially with the loss of your mother. And I lost my mother a few weeks ago as well. So
I'm so sorry to hear that, Andrew.
No, we share that grief. I think a lot of people, when people pass, they sort of turn around and say that they never know what to say to each other. And it's basically, look, for those who've been through it, we all go through these situations, and it is terrible. But your earlier childhood before that was even, I mean, as you yourself said, it was a fractured childhood. Talk to us about your family. And
well, my mother was from an Italian from Italian nobility. She was Contessa Maria Piertolome, but Mama was paranoid, schizophrenic, and couldn't really look after us. There was me and my half brother and half sister, and so I was brought by my father to the West Country. Then my father gave me to my grandparents, and he passed away when he was the age of 36 of a brain tumor. And then my grandparents gave me to my adopted parents. My adopted mother used to cook and clean for my grandmother and grandfather, and my adopted father was a milkman. He was a wonderful man, and they were both wonderful parents. And then, so I was kind of from pillar to post a little bit during those years. And then not knowing really, they told me that my mother was dead. And then it was a great shock to me when at the age of about 32, I found out she was alive. And then I finally found her. Then she asked me had I met my half brother and half sister. I said I didn't even know I had a half brother and half sister. So then they were looking for her at the same time as me. And actually I did a stage show at the Magic Circle called Signature Tricks, which I think you can see it online. If you go Max Somerset Signature Tricks or Paul Rothman Signature Tricks, because I think it might be on Paul's site, you can see the whole show there. We did it was a 2-hour one-man show called Signature Tricks, which really is the story of this bizarre, this strange, weird and wonderful story, which has led me into magic, which I think is magic is the reality that we take for granted.
Absolutely. And well, your grandmother was first cousin to the Queen Mum, wasn't she?
She was, yeah. She was first cousin, 3 removed from the Queen Mother, and you know, we have them on all sorts of weird and wonderful lots on my grandfather's side. You've got, you know, we have here this lovely little crest, which you'll probably recognise. I don't know if you can see that there. You see that on the House of Commons.
Ah, yes, the Portcullis.
The Portcullis. Well, that was ours before it was theirs. They nicked it from us.
Go and claim it back. Go.
Yes, well,
put your outfit on like Guy Fawkes did. And
yes, if you see a giraffe walking into the House of Commons, you'll know it's for no other reason than to get back his signet ring.
You're having a giraffe. I know what the hell to say. So that was your thing.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
I know you're looking as though you're about to go.
That's the Somerset crest. That's the Somerset crest.
Because when both your parents passed, you took the name. You took back the name of Somerset when your adopted parents passed. And
yeah.
Now, I know you're about to go off on Wimbledon. Shall we come with you on the journey, or do you want to do it alone and we get you back? Or do you?
Well, I'd love. I mean, my partner. I must ask because I got engaged in January, so I'm very excited.
Wonderful.
And I did it on the Mount of Olives.
Hey, did Popeye mind?
Yes, in Jerusalem.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we went on to Switzerland, and. In fact, she's coming down the stairs now.
Oh, how wonderful.
Show them the ring. This is Francesca. This is my lovely fiancé. This is Andrew.
How lovely. This is
Hi, Andrew. Hi.
Hey, Francesca. How lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you too.
So,
I guess Max wants to show the ring.
There you go.
That is stunning.
I'm very spoiled.
Describe it.
It was amazing.
It's a sapphire with a baguette cut diamonds surround and little kind of pave cut diamonds around the outside. So yes, it's a lovely number, and that was made by my ex-partner Genya, who's a jeweler, wonderful jeweler.
So, oh right, oh wonderful. Did they know they were making it at the time, or is it? So you.
Yes, we're, you know, we're living in a modern world, Andrew. Everyone's friendly.
Oh, well, isn't that great? I thought it was like a Jerry Springer moment. I love the idea. This is a headline news. The engagement ring made by the ex-partner. Good heavens! With a guy just a giraffe. It's brilliant stuff.
We've got to go.
Oh, you've got to go. Are we going on the journey with you, or shall we let you go?
Well, I mean, you can. We're about
yeah,
to.
let's go. Let's
say
go.
goodbye. I have to check on the rabbits first.
Let's get the rabbits. I like this. This is like a bit of Annika. A little bit of Annika. Oh, here we go.
We've got to check on the rabbits first. Make sure they're okay. There's Poppy.
Poppy, hello, Poppy. Oh, Poppy's lovely.
Yeah, she's got a little moustache.
That's lockdown. That's lockdown for you. All the beauty parlours are closed. There are lots of.
I know, poor Poppy.
Lots of
He's all right.
moustaches these days. Yeah.
So I leave the little light on outside just for foxes, though they can't really get in. But the one thing that they do need before they go, I have to give them. This is always important. It's a little ritual I have to go through. So you take a banana like this. You take the banana out to militaire, like that, you see. I put the banana in my mouth.
Oh, we've lost your connection briefly. I hope you're still there. Oh, no, you're back. There we go. Banana's in your mouth. Oh, come on.
Then a bit for Poppy. There she goes. Banana for Poppy. Banana for militaire. That keeps them very happy.
It's absolutely glorious, and you do this every single day. But only militaire gets the mouth-to-mouth banana. Is that?
Yes, he gets mouth-to-mouth banana.
Yes. Why doesn't Poppy get mouth-to-mouth? What's wrong with Poppy?
She's not really into mouth-to-mouth banana.
It's only militaire. What?
Not really her thing. He's the only person in the house that really is.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Well, it's always a thrill. Well, good old. That's why militaire has to stay outside.
That's right. Have I got everything? Let's just have a look here. Yes, I believe I have everything.
Oh, wonderful. Are we going to come with you for part of the journey?
Well, I mean, we're on the way up to the fire stables in Wimbledon, you see, for a little one of these eating out to help out jobs.
Oh, isn't that good? So the fire station has got. So what are you going to have tonight? What are you going to eat? Oh, have we lost you? Eating out to help out. We may well have lost the connection to Maximilian Somerset, having had those most extraordinary scenes. If we have, we'll get him back another time. But anyway, it has been an absolute joy catching up with Max. If you'd like to be on the show yourself, write to me at guests@octopustv.com. That's guests@octopustv.com. But for now, thank you very much for Maximilian giving us a little glimpse into his glorious life. We'll see you next time. Be good.
I think I might lose you because my connection's very poor, Andrew. So you'll have to forgive me. I'm going to love you all and leave you all, and I'm sorry that we can't finish this with any more airs and graces than is possible. But I wish you and your viewers very well, and for the rest of the podcasts.
Well, that is absolutely fantastic, and we'll get you back when you're in connectivity in the not too distant future.
Lovely. Bless you. Take care.
Take care. Always a joy, Max. Have fun in Wimbledon.
Thanks very much. Bless you, Andrew. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you go. A little bonus Maximilian Somerset as he goes out. He's eating out to help out. So well done. The last couple of days of that. As I say, if you've enjoyed the show, put your little comments on the bottom. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, it's always a thrill to see you. We've had all sorts of people from around the world taking part, not just the rich and famous, but everyday heroes talking about their extraordinary situations. If you'd like to be a guest or have any comments, write to me at guests@octopustv.com. But for me, Andrew Eborn, thank you very much again to Max. We're a little glimpse into his life. I'll see you next time. Be good, be safe. Bye-bye.